function, and I think we did this, the square root of negative x, and then the function negative the square root of x. The base function used here was, right. So what am I changing here? Well, I'm changing the inside. I'm changing x into negative x. So when I graph the square root of x, this is a very important function. Here's the graph. That's why the domain and range are 0 to infinity. Now when I want to graph f, I will graph it reflected with respect to the y-axis. So this is a graph of negative x. Because in this case, negative x has to be greater than or equal to 0. We multiply both sides by negative 1 and we get this. That's why the domain is negative infinity to 0 for this function. When we multiply both sides by negative 1, we switch the inequality symbol. And then now if I want to graph this one, this is the situation. We're multiplying all y values now, not the x values. The x are the same. X's are not touched by anything. The symbol is outside, so it reflects with respect to the x-axis. So this one is a reflection with respect to the y-axis, and this one is a reflection with respect to the x-axis.
And if you take g of x and you can add a 1 to it outside the radical?
Yes, so then all this entire graph moves up 1. So it will be this. So this will be negative the square root of x plus 1. Very good. Other questions? Anything else? Or we start the review for test 1. Anything? You must finish the homework between now and Wednesday for test 1. Right? Because that's the purpose of it. You have to finish it up so it uses, it helps you with the test on Wednesday.
So what should we finish it up to?
Just everything topic 1, 2, and 3. Exactly what, including radical equations. So last topic is radical equations and problem solving. So before functions. So everything has to be finished between now and Wednesday. Before the topic of functions. Okay? So before this, everything that we've studied should be done. Is that okay? Everyone? Yes? Okay, perfect. So let's start reviewing for test 2. I'm sorry, you know what I mean. With other students, I'm in test 3, others are in test 4, and some other classes in test 2. So my apologies. Of course, test 1. Okay, so here's the first question that I have for you. Graph using X and Y intercepts. Graph using the X and Y intercepts. So let's suppose I have negative x plus 3y equals 9. And if you remember, we have 2 situations. One situation is when x is 0, and we have to get y. The other one when y is 0, and we have to get the corresponding x. Can anyone tell us what when x is 0, all we have to do is just cover it. Can anyone tell us what is y? What does y equal to? Graph using x and y intercepts. So when x is 0, cover it. Please tell me how much is y. Very good. So what is the ordered pair that we have to plot? Excellent. Now when y is 0, please cover it and give me x. Very good. And what is the ordered pair that we are looking at right now? That's it. We plot those 2 points. Negative 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Please do not solve for y. Don't try to find the slope. There is no need for something like that. And the requirement is to use the x and y intercepts, not the slope to graph. and 0, 3 is here. Connect the points and extend the line. Please write somewhere close to the line negative x plus 3y equals 9. Any questions? Is this okay? Yes? Okay, so let's say now we want to graph lines like these, and you tell me what they are. Negative 2x plus 4 equals 6. That's one. You're asked to graph this. What would you do? What will you do first, no matter what? No matter what the problem is telling me, what should I do immediately? No, it's a linear equation. It's not quadratic. I would have said yes if this were quadratic and I had to factor and set it equal to 0, but this is linear. And what do I do with this? Yes, excellent. And the first step would be? Exactly. So then we have negative 2x equals 2, so therefore x equals? Careful, negative 1. Good. What type of line is this? I'm asked to graph. This is not a point. We don't have a point here. This is only x equals negative 1. What type of line is it?
Well, x is a constant, so it would be a vertical line.
Exactly. Here it is. This is the line, x equals negative 1.
The slope is undefined.
And the slope is undefined. Very good. Excellent.
The grid is called the slope to gradient.
Well, the gradient is something else from Calc 3 also.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now let's take a look at the following. 3y plus 1 equals 4. So I was asked to graph this, and I did. We did. Now we're asked to graph this. What will you do first? Of course, 3y equals 3, and then y equals 1. So what type of line is this? Yes, because it's the altitude. Awesome. So here it is. So this is y equals 1. Please write the name of the line you graphed, the name of the equation. Always. Somewhere, left, right, etc. Any questions on these problems? Any questions? Any questions? We're okay with that? Okay, give me 2 points, and let's find the equation of the line. Any 2 points you can think of? Okay, so let's say negative 1, 0 to negative 4. So we want to find the equation of the line passing through these points.
So if you were given the slope, you would try to use the slope.
Yes, but I'm not given the slope. Yes.
Then you have to use the y2 minus y1.
Yes, I have to find y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So negative 4 minus 0 over 2 minus negative 1, which is positive 1. So the numerator is negative 4, the denominator is 3, so the slope is negative 4/3. Good? So I have the slope. Now what?
Now you can use the point slope form of the equation.
Right, excellent. So the point slope form is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, in which I replace the slope by negative 4/3. And of course, I will use any point, it doesn't matter, but this is easier to use because I have -1 here and 0 here. So then y equals -4/3 and x plus 1. The problem specifically is going to ask us to present the slope-intercept form. So what should I do here? We distribute -4/3 x minus 4/3. You will have to solve for y. Ready for a word problem now? Ready for a word problem? Yes? Any questions on this? Are we okay? Yes? Anyone? Did I do anything? No one wants to talk to me? Are we okay? Okay. So here it is. A new car is worth $24,000. Is depreciating in value by $3,000 per year. What is $3,000, or actually -$3,000 per year? What is this? Okay. So every time we see a measurement unit that is a ratio, it must be the slope. So it cannot be x. So if you call me and you say, are you driving? And I say yes, and you ask me about my speed, I'll say 40 miles an hour. It means I'm giving you a slope, the rate of change of distance with respect to time. So if we have 3,000, or in this case depreciating, which means -$3,000 per year, this must be the slope. It cannot be anything else. So its value decreases by $3,000 each year. So that must be the rate of change of value with respect to time. Is that clear? Yes? Okay, we're asked now, write a formula that models the car's value, y in dollars, after x years.
So it would seem to me like the $24,000 would be the Y-intercept.
Exactly. So this is indeed 0, 24,000. When time is 0, the car is brand new, the value is 24,000. Indeed. So how do we write the equation? We have mx plus b. We cannot start with 24,000. We have to put it in, arrange it in this order. So that would be y equals very good. -3,000 what? Very good. Plus 24,000. Very good. This is indeed the equation that models the value of the car after we drive it off their lot. Yes,
I'm
Bob?
with this gentleman over here. I more logically think that, I know this is the standard form to write it, but the way you think about it, it's 24,000 minus.
Yeah, it's not wrong to write it as 24,000 minus 33,000x, but if you're asked what is the slope, you may say 24,000. So that's why I would like, it's okay, right? So you can write this, because 2 plus 3 is 3 plus 2. It doesn't matter, right? So you can write it in this order, but we always put everything in descending order so you can identify the slope and the y-intercept. But it's not wrong. You'll get full credit if you write 24,000 minus 3,000x. Absolutely. Okay, part B. Use the formula to determine after how many years the car's value will be 9,000. Use the formula that we just determined to see how many years it will pass till the value will drop from 24,000 to 9,000. What do I have to do? Yes? Yeah.
So you want 9,000, like that's the money that's worth.
Let's read the question one more time. Use the formula from part A, which we We just determined to determine after how many years the car's value will be 9,000. Yes, please. Right? It cannot be X or something. We have to decide where. But X is the time, right? 0. So this is extremely important to understand. X is the time, which is the independent variable. The value is the Y. So I cannot replace X by $9,000 because X represents number of years. I cannot put here dollars, right? So this is the X-axis and this is the Y-axis. The value depends on time, not the other way around, right? So the value depends on time. So which one is the value?
It's 15 years.
I have no idea. I have to show work. I can't just plug in a number.
I did it differently. So
You cannot plug in numbers. You have to show the equation. I can't give full credit for that.
If I don't show it,
If you don't show the work, you will not get full credit.
oh no, I have to work. It's just
So what did you do? You plugged in 1, you plugged in 2, you plugged in 3, you plugged in 4. Okay. What did?
so what I did was
Yes.
I subtract 9,000 from 24.
Right. So that's exactly what it is. So Y is $9,000, not X. That was the point I was making. Not X. X is the time. So this is time, and this is value. So in X, I cannot plug in the value. Like in the value, I cannot plug in X, right? So this is negative 3,000 X plus 24,000, right? So you move 24, exactly what you just did. So 24,000 minus 9,000, exactly. 15,000 minus equals this. And then now we divide both sides by the negative 3,000. So to get 15 divided by 3, it cannot be 15.
Oh, I need that. No, that's 5.
5 years. And you can always go back and check. So what is the point that we just determined? Yes, and Y is? Excellent. That's it. That's the point. That's the correct point. Okay, part C. Any questions on this? Any questions? Part C. When would the value be 0? How many years, even if we want to sell this car, we will not get anything for it?
So in this case, instead of having 9,000 on the left, you're gonna have 0.
Exactly. So we want to know in how many years we can only give it to the scrap, for scrap value, and no one will buy it from us. It may have sentimental value, but it will not be worth any money. Good. So I will, in this case, I will write 3,000 X equals 24,000. And then I divide 24 by 3, and I get 8 years. So on paper, we may have a value of a car of $0 in 8 years. Any questions?
So if Y becomes negative, I'm sorry,
There is no way.
well, it could be that you have to pay somebody to come take it.
That's possible. That's cute. Very good. Any questions on we know how to determine the equation of a line given 2 points. We know how to address these situations with linear equations, correct? Yes? Okay. So let's suppose we are given 2 lines. Any questions, Maureen? Go ahead. No, we are reviewing for the test today. Is that what we said? That's what I thought we said. I mean, I have the test. You want to take the test now? Okay, no. Okay, very good. So the next step, let's suppose we are given two lines. I'm going to choose two lines. If not, I'll make them up. Let's make up two lines. Let's say 2x minus 3y equals 7. And the other line, y equals 1/3 x plus 9. The question here is, are they parallel, perpendicular, or none of the above? So we have two lines. Obviously, these are two linear equations. We don't know whether they are parallel, perpendicular, or none of the above. What should I do? How do I determine? Without graphing, of course. There is no need to graph.
Well, the second line is nice because you already have it in y equals mx plus b.
Yes, so, yes, Maureen, you wanted to say something?
I was going to say if you determine like if they have the same slope.
Correct, for parallel. What about for perpendicular? That's exactly what Bob said.
Is the slope opposite?
Negative multiplicative reciprocal of the other. Okay, great job. So we already have the slope of M2, or the second line. Bobby's right. He said you already have the slope for the second one. Yes, what is it? Yes, remember the slope has nothing to do with x. Good, so what do I have to do to the first one then to determine its slope? I'm solving for y. So negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 7. And then, what do I need to do to solve for y? By? I have to solve for y, dividing both sides by? Perfect. So y equals 2/3 x minus 7/3. What is the slope? M1 of the first line then? Of the second line is? Of the first line is? 2/3. So now we are comparing M1, which is 2/3, versus M2, which is 1/3. Are these two numbers the same? No. Does that mean that for sure the lines are not parallel? Good. When I multiply them, do I get -1? When I multiply 2/3 by 1/3, if I get -1, I'll say they are perpendicular. But if I don't get -1, I'll say they're neither parallel nor perpendicular. Do I get -1 when I multiply? So when I multiply the tops, what do I get? 2. When I multiply the denominators, I get 9. And this does not equal -1. And I'll say none of the above. Not parallel, not perpendicular. The product of the slopes is not -1, and they are not the same. Is this okay? Very good. Moving on to the next step.
Professor, also
Yes.
that these two lines is a solution set of lines. It's a pair of coordinates.
No, the system has a solution, if you want to consider it a system. They will intersect. But they're not going to intersect in 4 90-degree angles.
Yes.
They're going to intersect somehow. I don't care how, but they're not in the 4 90-degree angles. And they are not parallel either. So the system will have a solution. Very good. Okay, so let's take a look at, let's say we have a point. Give me a point, please. And give me an equation. Any point, any equation you want. 6 and? Okay, perfect. And any linear equation you want. Any linear equation. We need a point and a linear equation. Perfect. Very good. So now here's what we want. We want to find a line passing through this point, 6, 12, oops, and perpendicular to 2x minus 4y equals 6. So we have a point, we have a line. We're told to find the equation that is perpendicular to the given line, passing through 6, 12. So this is just the idea. The idea is this. I'm looking for this green line. It passes through 6, 12. Anywhere along the line, I have this point, and it's perpendicular. It forms 4 90-degree angles to the given equation, to the line whose equation is given to us, 2x minus 4y equals 6. So we have a point. So this is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, and the point is 6, 12. But I don't have the slope. I cannot use y equals mx plus b because the given point that we picked is not the y-intercept. But I do have a point, and I do have the slope given indirectly. So what do we do? I have to solve. Say it again. Yes, we are solving the given equation for what? So we are solving this equation for what to get the slope? It's important. Exactly. Very good. Perfect. That's all I needed you to say. Yes. Of course. It's y equals mx plus b, right? So we want to put it in this form. Y equals mx plus b. Otherwise, we can't determine the slope. Excellent. Very good. So then I have 2x minus 4y equals 6. Negative 4y equals negative 2x plus 6. And y equals 1/2 x minus 3/2. This is what we just did a few minutes ago. What did we do? We moved 2x to the other side. We divided both sides by negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4. Negative 2 divided by negative 4. And positive 6 divided by negative 4. So now we have the slope. What is the slope? Yes, the slope of the given line. This is m2 equals 1/2. But the question is, what is m1? So m2 was determined just to help us determine m1. But this is not m1. What is m1, or the slope of the unknown line? What is it?
So, M1's going like that, M2's going that way.
Perpendicular, that's what it means.
So they're opposite.
No, there is a different formula for perpendicular lines.
Negative reciprocal.
Negative reciprocal. So that's what we said here. The product has to equal -1 if they are perpendicular. So if one of them is 1/2, what should the other one be for the product to be -1? -2. Awesome. Well done. That's all I need to replace the slope now, and I have everything. So this is y minus 12 equals -2 x minus 6. Indeed, if one slope is 1/2, the other one has to be the negative multiplicative inverse of the other. I don't like to say that. I like to say better, the product has to be -1. And if I have 1/2, only -2 will give us a product of -1. Nothing else will give us a product of -1. If this is 1/2, only times -2 will get -1. Or you just remember it as we probably know it from a long time ago. I'm not trying to change anything. If it works, it works. The negative multiplicative inverse of the other. Whichever you prefer, it's fine. So now we have to solve for y. So this is -2x plus 12, and then I have to bring 12. So then y equals -2x plus 24. So we determine the equation of the line. Passing through the given point, you pick the point 6, 12, and perpendicular to the given line. This is the equation. Please tell me if you have any questions.
Yeah, so in the case where you have a vertical line with no slope, or undefined slope.
If you have x equals, excellent question actually.
Have you found
Yes,
a particular line?
very good. So if you have x equals 1, right? This is x equals 1, correct?
Yes.
And you have to be given a point. So please give me any point.
0, 5.
So you're saying that the line passes to 0, 5 and is perpendicular to this, right? Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y equals 5. Is that clear?
Yes.
Perfect. Very good question. Excellent. Next question that I would like to review with you is, we're given f of x. And let's say we have x squared minus 2x. Let's suppose we're asked to find, let's say, over x plus 1. What if I ask, please find f of 0? What will you do? Excellent. 0 minus 0 over 0 plus 1. How much is this? 0. Very good. The top is 0. The denominator is 1. 0 over 1 is 0. What is the ordered pair we just determined?
0, 0.
Excellent. What if I ask, find f of negative 1? What will you say? Say it again. The same thing. Very good. So then I have 1 plus 2 over negative 1 plus 1. What is the answer this time? Careful. The numerator is,
3.
the denominator is, so the answer is undefined. Careful. What is the domain of this function? Let's suppose we're asked to find the domain. What will be the domain? The domain will be?
Basically, every x value except for negative 1.
Awesome. We have to put that in writing. Excellent. Excellent. Great job. So then the domain for this function is negative infinity, negative 1, union, negative 1, infinity. Great job. What if I ask now, find f of x plus h? What will you say? What should I do? Say it again. So just dictate and I'll write it.
X plus 8. No, it's not. 2.
You mean everything squared?
Yeah.
Very good. Minus? Yes?
X.
It has, I'm missing something I have to say. You have to say something, otherwise I can't continue. Excellent. Great job. Yes, awesome. The denominator now. Now you can omit parentheses because there is nothing to be distributed. Now you can say x plus h plus 1. Great job. Okay, I want to simplify it fully. The denominator cannot be simplified. I can just copy it. This cannot be simplified. I can just distribute. But I want anyone to tell me how many terms you will write for x plus h squared. Yes, 3 terms. Awesome. Great job. So please give me those 3 terms. Excellent.
Those 2, right?
2 times the first times the second. We did that. Please remember, 2xh and plus?
H squared.
Yes. Good. There is nothing else we can do. This is it. Okay, let's look at a function. I just want us to determine domain range and read from a graph, and I have several graphs here in this book. I just have to choose one, or I let you choose one. Yes, here it is. So here is a graph. Can anyone identify the domain of this graph? First of all, is this a function? By the,
Vertical line test.
we have to write that, right? When we are asked, is this a function, you have to say yes, not just yes, comma, by the vertical line test. Okay? Good. It's a function. Is it, does it have X-intercept? Can anyone read it as an ordered pair?
2, 0.
Excellent. Do we all see it? 2, 0. Okay. What about the Y-intercept? Is there a Y-intercept as an ordered pair?
-1, 0.
Careful. 0, -1. Perfect. What about f of 3? How much is f of 3? Say it again. F of 3.
Oh, it's 5.
F of 3.
It's 1.
It's 1. When x is 3, it crosses the graph at this point, and I read the y value. F of 3 is 1. Very good. What about the domain of this function?
That goes from 0 for x to 5, but not including 5.
Exactly. So bracket at 0, a parenthesis at 5. What about the range?
Is it -1, 0, 5?
Exactly. Including -1 with a bracket, but with an open point, a parenthesis at 5. Agreed? Okay. I would like us to approximate, find x when f of x is 2. Find x when f of x is 2. Approximately. It's not easy to come up with a good approximation, but I'm happy with any approximation. When f of x is 2, what does f of x equal 2 mean?
So the f of x will be the y value.
Exactly.
So you treat over to x,
Yes?
somewhere between 3 and 4.
Yes. So f of x equals 2, crosses the graph in this point, and I read possibly 3.6. If you say 3.5, I agree. If you say 3.7, I agree. I can't prove that it's wrong, right?
I always thought you could read it when exactly like lines up. That's what I thought too.
But I'm told f of x is 2. I can't change anything. F of x equals 2 means y equals 2. I can't change that. It crosses the graph here, and I have to read the corresponding x value, whatever that is. Any questions on this function or this problem? Are we okay with it? I'm sorry? Yeah. This one or this one? Let's take a look. What is the domain of this function? Of course. It goes on forever, negative infinity to positive infinity. Great job. What about the range of this function? The range is read on the y-axis, from the smallest y value to the largest y value. from the smallest y value. If you say 1, it means that the function starts here. If you say -3, it means that the function starts here. So where does the function start?
0,
2. Excellent. X-intercepts in ordered pair format.
0, -1.
That's not the X-intercept. If you say 0, it cannot be the X-intercept.
It's -1,
Comma.
0.
Excellent. The Y-intercept.
That one's 0, 1.
Excellent. F of 2. F of 2. F of 2 is when x is 2. When x is 2, it crosses the graph and I read the y value. F of 2. Yes. When x is 2, y is 3. Now I want to determine y when f of x is 2. F of x is 2. Not only, I draw a horizontal line, f of x equals 2. It hits the graph in 2 points. So I have to read the x value, and I have to read the x value. Excellent. -3, comma, 2, and 1, comma, 2. Is this okay? Do we feel better about reading from a graph? Yes? Is that a yes, or do we need a yes? Maureen, go ahead.
You said something. You said it was -3, 2.
Ordered pairs.
Oh.
-3, comma, 2, 1, comma, 2. Perfect. Good. Do we need more examples, or are we okay with reading from the graph? Domain range, f of 1, f of 2, or when f of x is blah, 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 we find x. X and y intercepts. Are we okay? Yes? Great job. Good. So let's move on. Do we know how to evaluate functions? Yes? Okay, very good. So let's see what else is here. Let's use some transformations. For example, let's say f of x equals negative the absolute value of x plus 1 and plus 3. We have to present the transformations in the order of operations. And we have to start with the base function. So what is the base function here? What function did I use to create what you just see there, what I just wrote? What is the base function? Which function did I use? Absolutely. Very good. Okay, number 1. First transformation on the absolute value of x in order of operations. What do I have to write first as the first transformation? What will be the first one? Here's how you remember the sequence. So if you're asked, assuming we're not doing that, but let's assuming you're asked to find f of 2, which operation will you perform first?
Substitute 2 for x.
Right, but the first operation is 2 plus 1, right? So that will be the first item that you have to, or the first transformation you have to apply. What will be the second one on this? When you're done with this, what will you do first? Do you add this 3 or you multiply by -1? I know it's a silly question. Of course, you have to multiply by -1. And finally, number 3 is a transformation on this, and the last step must be. So we really don't have to memorize the sequence. You just imagine that you're asked to evaluate and you know what the steps should be. When you evaluate, you have to add 1 first. When you're done, you multiply by -1 in front of the absolute value. And when you're done with that, you add 3. And that's the sequence of the transformations as well. Okay, what does this do to the base function? Where does it go? Because I have to identify them.
Well, the last function that you showed us looked like an absolute value function.
True.
So the lowest point is called the vertex?
To be honest, the vertex is specifically for quadratic functions. But I understand what you mean. How will I call that? I would probably call it a corner, not a vertex. But if you call it a vertex, it's fine too. Yeah. But the vertex is mainly for quadratic functions.
So without a 1 attached to the x inside the absolute value sign, if you graph that, you get the corner right at the x-axis.
Right. Where will it be? That's the question. Because I have to write what this means.
It's 0, 0. But now you're adding 1 to it, so you're going to raise it by 1, I think.
Careful. If you identify that, first of all, let me ask you this question: is this a transformation on x or a transformation on y? If you say it's a transformation on y, then it goes up or down. If you say it's a transformation on x, it cannot go up and down. It has to go left and right. So that's the key. We have to identify whether it's a transformation on x or on y. Is it on x or is it on y? It's on x. So therefore, it cannot go up or down, but it must go left or right. Which direction? Because that's very important. It is 1, but to the left or to the right? To the left. Very good. Left 1. Awesome. Now, what does this do to this? And again, we have to ask ourselves, is it a transformation on x or a transformation on y? On y, because it's outside, it does not touch x. Awesome. So what does it do when we multiply y by -1? Because this is y, and this is y, but with minus in front.
It's going to flip the whole graph.
Exactly. Reflect WRT with respect to the x-axis. Awesome. Finally, what do we do to this graph to get this one? And now y is the same, but +3. So +3 does not touch x. It cannot be a transformation in x. It must be a transformation in y. So it's the same y, but this one +3. But if it's +3 for y, it goes up. If it's +3 for x, it goes to the left. So up 3. So now let's graph all these. We start with the absolute value. How does it look? Like a V. Very good. So this is the absolute value of x. Then you said move it to the left 1. Okay, fine. I'm moving it to the left 1. Great job. So this is the absolute value of x plus 1. Then you said reflect it. Fine, I will reflect it. Negative x plus 1. And then you said move this up 3. Fine. 1, 2, 3. So this is the final graph. So this is y equals, or f of x equals, doesn't matter, negative the absolute value of x plus 1 plus 3. Questions?
It gets easy with practice.
Yes, of course. That's the trick. That's the only trick. I would like us to look at a system now. So let's take a look. Ready? Okay, so let's say number 4 on this page. I just picked one. 2y minus 6x equals 7, and 3x minus y equals 9. And I also want another one, 2 systems. 5x plus 3y equals 1, and 3x plus 4y equals negative 6.